How's it going? I'm Ryan. Today I'm going to go over the two trades that I took on QQQ. It was the same trade I re-entered after getting stopped out. Uh, was a loss overall. We'll dive into how that kind of played out. We got an inside bar today. Yesterday's big sell-off. Today another red inside bar. Kind of sets us up tomorrow if we do continue this move down. Could be really interesting. But we'll take a look at a few things I was watching here. So we're opening up within the previous day's range. I had yesterday's high around 441, yesterday's low around 443.6. No pre-market levels I was watching necessarily. We had this zone from 436.6 to 436.9 or so. This next 438.36 to 438.6. Here from 439, we'll call it, to 439.25. And then this area in here, this 440.3 to 440.6 or so. Those were the zones I was watching. We can take a look at how we opened the day up. I was watching for a rejection in this area, and I'm kind of bummed I didn't take it because we got a really nice move out of that. We got an initial rejection, a retest, and then that rejection through. I want to pull this back to the 30-minute, and we'll take a look at why I was watching that area for rejection. That area came from this right here. Previous all-time high that we had rejected pretty hard from. Once we cleared that here is when we ripped and made this new high up here. So kind of an area that we had big supply, got above it, and had a big move to the upside. Additionally, it was kind of right where we opened yesterday and had that big sell-off. So just a bit of hesitation. That's something that I gotta work on. And I'll even throw up the 1-minute chart and we can take a look at why that was pretty nice. Initial push, showed some weakness, sold off. Moved 80 cents or so, or yeah, about 80 cents. Came up and retested it and dropped right down to this zone. So that was a really nice move. That was one that I was kind of watching, but I hesitated on it and it happened pretty quick. With that being said, though, we had some news coming out today. So we kind of had this big move down at 8 o'clock. We got news and we had an even bigger move down. Came right down to this zone where we found a bit of a bottom, came up and started retesting this area. So I took puts in here initially on this candle. And why did I like it? I liked it because we had this previous low here that we were retesting. We also had this zone that I was watching, and we had the EMA on the 5-minute. So we'll throw that up there. Let me take a look at that. So I entered initially on this candle here, 2 puts, and I was stopped out by this candle when we pushed up. That was my bad. I really shouldn't have had my stop so tight, but I wanted to have a pretty tight stop loss in case we did continue up, because we had bounced so aggressively from down here. And we're moving up, and on the 1-minute had kind of a series of bullish candles coming into this area. So I figured if we didn't get that rejection out, there's potential that we'd keep going up. So I wanted to limit my potential loss with a tight stop. However, it was too tight, as this candle up here stopped me out right before we got this push down. So we did get this initial move down. I was up a little bit. I wanted to see a move down potentially to like here, to where we bounced earlier, around like 437.4. And then ideally I was targeting 437 if we got a nice flush. So didn't take any profit here. We came back up here and it stopped me out, unfortunately. That was mistake number 1. But I still felt good about this trade. And as we started to reject, I entered the position again on this candle once we closed this 1-minute candle here and opened up lower. I re-entered the trade here. I took one off when we pushed down here. Reason being is we got this candle here on higher volume. We came down, kind of pushed back up, And as we came back down in this area, I trimmed one contract, just watching kind of the reaction that we got here, thinking, there's a possibility that we bounce and we don't get that continuation down. I do want to talk about why I felt good re-entering this trade though. And it's the reason that I felt good taking it in the first place. We had this zone here, previous low, we had the EMA, a lot of things lining up, as well as this 5-minute close. And you can see that volume was pretty high here on these selling candles. On the push up was significantly lower. And so felt pretty good that we get this continuation, hopefully, of this downtrend. So trimmed one in here, and I had one left, at which point I was holding, hopefully, that we were going to get that continuation of the downtrend, or at least, back towards that low a day. My remaining position was stopped out here. My stop was a break above 438.5, kind of this area that we were rejecting off of before. And so once we pushed up here, I got stopped out on my last contract. So it took 2 contracts here, stopped out here. Like I said, that was a mistake. That was too tight of a stop. And then entered again when we started to push down, and took 1 profit here and stopped out for loss on the other here. So overall, not the greatest. I should have just maintained my original position here. This shouldn't have stopped me out. I should have given myself a little bit of leeway here. And in that situation, my entry would have been better than when I entered here. So I got, obviously a worse fill because we had started to move down. The premiums were higher than when I entered up in here. With that being said, re-entering the trade, I'm not mad about it. We did get a little bit of a push, another 40 cents, 50 cents or so since that re-entry. And I did take some profit on one trade, or on one position, and was hoping to hold the other on the way down. Now, would I have taken both off here had I never been stopped out here? Potentially. I wanted to hold for a bigger move because I already had that initial loss. So this whole thing was kind of doomed from the start, I think, because of, well, not doomed from the start, but because I took that initial loss on the initial stop. So it is what it is. Not a huge loss. I did get some profit, minimize the loss a little bit by taking 1 contract off here. One thing that I was watching is we had news at 8 and we had this big spike down. Once we broke this low a day, I was considering entering a position because we were weak and we continued to look weak after news broke. I hesitated and didn't enter, and this is something maybe that I should consider, is like on that downtrend, we break a low, play the momentum. That would have worked out really well. As you see, we broke and came right down to this zone here. So that would have been a really nice move. Didn't get in on that. Hesitated up here, missed that. So another thing that I kind of was watching later is that obviously this move here was the start of an uptrend, right? That was the end of that downtrend. And I think it was something that I should have been paying attention to, is that we had this resistance that we were obeying all morning until here, right? What did we do? We set a low, we set a higher low, and started to make higher highs, right? We had this low, swing high, higher low, higher high, and we broke out of this resistance that we'd been respecting all morning. So something that I could have paid attention to and maybe understood that even though, we were still in a downtrend, that we had a shift in momentum. And even though we had that nice series of 5-minute candles at a zone that I was watching here that looked like it was going to get rejection, potential continuation, I think especially after this 5-minute candle printed here, could have been a pretty good indication, like I said, alongside with the higher highs, higher lows, the broken resistance, this 5-minute candle, the signs are there. So I think ultimately what it is just not to hesitate on this trade, because I didn't want to take it on the opening candle, but once we got that retest, it could have been an entry, place stop around high a day and enter in here and try to play zone to zone. So something to watch. Definitely something to watch. I think it's kind of a similar setup that got me yesterday in terms of entering after that downtrend. It kind of exhausted itself, and we were starting to put in higher lows rather than lower lows. So from there we ripped. Luckily I did get out here because we just continued up. Tested yesterday's high day a little bit. From there dumped pretty hard. There were some nice moves later on in the day, and this uptrend was really nice too if you rode that. But that's the one trade that I took. Like I said, technically I took 2 trades, but it was just a re-entry of the original position that I got stopped out on. Shouldn't have been stopped out at that point. The loss would have been smaller, and I potentially would have been in enough profit at this point to justify, maybe like a 30% profit or something to take. So like I always say, hindsight 2020. We just continue to learn, continue to try to grow. These days can be a little difficult when you're within the prior day range. We got a quick reversal. It's a pretty V-shaped reversal there. Zones are looking all right. Can't complain with that. We do get some nice rejections, some nice retests out of these zones I'm watching. So we're getting there. I think it's just going to be a continuous kind of tweak, and it's all about my entry, all about my stop, making sure I follow my plan. And yeah, we'll be back to trade. But that's all I got for you. I do trade live every Monday through Friday. So I'll be here through the rest of the week. If you feel so inclined, join me. And hope you have a great rest of your day. Thanks. Peace.